Welcome, dear students. Today we are going to learn about the conventional plant fibers. The cloth or material produced by the processes of weaving and knitting is called a fabric. Fabric is made of thin strands of thread known as yarn, which is further made up of thinner strands known as fiber. Fibers that are obtained from natural sources like plants and animals are known as natural fibers. Some of the examples of natural plant fibers are cotton, jute, wool, silk, and flax. Here we will discuss the plant fibers in detail. The cotton plant is grown in black soil and places with a warm climate. The cotton balls are small in size. When the balls burst open after maturing, the cotton seeds enclosed in cotton fibers are visible. The cotton fiber is separated from cotton seeds by a process called ginning. Ginning can be defined as the process of obtaining cotton fibers by combing. Ginning was done by hand before, but now it is done using machines. Jute is a long, coarse fiber obtained from the stem of a jute plant. Jute requires alluvial soil and standing water for growth. Jute plant is harvested when it is in the flowering stage. The stem of the plant is immersed in water for some days after harvesting. This process is called retting. After the stem rots, the fiber from the stem is separated by hand and dried. There are two types of jute plants, white jute and tosa jute. The white jute has been produced traditionally using hand spinning wheels just like cotton. Tosa jute is a variety of jute grown both for making cloths and for cooking purposes. Flax is commonly known as linseed, which is obtained from the internal layers of the stem. The flax plant is grown for its fiber as well as its culinary uses. The fiber is used in making linen cloth, which is used as clothing for bed sheets and table linen. The flax fiber is stronger than the cotton fiber and is very smooth. These fibers are made of cellulose, a complex carbohydrate, and are strong, durable, and versatile. They are commonly used in the production of textiles, paper, and other products. These fibers can be processed in different ways to produce different types of products, such as soft and absorbent cotton fibers for clothing or strong and durable jute fibers for bags and ropes. Plant fibers are renewable and biodegradable, making them an environmentally friendly alternative to synthetic fibers. Fibers from plants can be in the form of hairs, such as cotton, kapok, or hard fibers such as in coir, sisal, and fiber sheaves such as in flax, hemp, and jute. Depending on their utility, the plant fibers are classified as primary and secondary. Plants to be used as fibers for primary utilities include hemp, jute, kenaf, while the byproducts of plants such as coir, pineapple belong to the secondary group. These fibers are renewable, cheap, completely or partially recyclable, biodegradable, and environmentally friendly materials. Their availability, low density, price, and satisfactory mechanical properties make them attractive alternative reinforcements to glass, carbon, and other artificial fibers. The geometrical dimensions of these fibers, especially the fiber length, depends mainly on the fiber location within the plant. Fibers from fruits and seeds are few centimeters long, whereas fibers from stems and leaves are longer than 1 meter. With an exception of seeds and fruit fibers, plant fibers are sclerenchyma elongated cells which occur in different parts of plants, mainly in the stems and leaves. These are elongated cells with tapering ends and very thick, usually heavily lignified cell walls. Sclerenchyma gives mechanical strength and rigidity to the plant since it is usually a supporting tissue in plants. Fibers are also associated with the xylem and phloem tissues of monocotyledonous and dicotyledonous plant stems and leaves. All plant cells have a primary wall. During cell growth and after it has stopped, the cytoplasm in sclerenchyma cells dries while the cell wall becomes thickened by addition of a thick and rigid secondary cell wall which is formed inwards of the primary cell wall and constructed of cellulose fibrils. The secondary cell wall is formed by successive deposition of cellulose layers which are divided in the three sublayers, that is S1, S2 and S3, of which the middle layer is the most important for fibers' mechanical properties. It consists of helically arranged microfibrils. The diameter of microfibrils is between 10 to 30 nanometers. An important parameter of the structure of the secondary wall is the angle that the cellulose microfibrils are making with the main fiber direction. Actually, each of three fibers sublayers has a different microfibrillar orientation which is specific for the fiber type. Due to the formation of a thick secondary wall, the lumen becomes smaller. The cell wall in a fiber is not a homogeneous layer. The walls of plant cells, that is the primary and the secondary cell wall, can be considered as a composite consisting of cellulose fibrils embedded within a matrix of lignin and hemicellulosic polysaccharides. Vegetable fibers are generally composed of three structural polymers, that is, the polysaccharides, cellulose and hemicelluloses, and the aromatic polymer, that is, lignin, as well as by some minor non-structural components, that is, proteins, extractives, minerals. Cellulose forms a crystalline structure with the regions of high order, that is crystalline regions, and regions of low order, that is amorphous regions. Middle lamellas composed of pectic polysaccharides are connecting individual cells in bundles. Retting, which is the process of separating fibers from non-fiber tissues in plants, involves bacteria and fungi treatments and mechanical and chemical processes for fibers extraction. Despite good quality of fibers, div retting is usually replaced by other more economic methods because the process is very time consuming and weather dependent. Instead of atmospheric retting, chemical methods and enzyme rettings with pectinases, hemicellulases and cellulases is used. However, fiber properties depend on extraction conditions significantly. The cellulose, hemicellulose and lignin content in plant fibers vary depending on the plant species, origin, quality and conditioning. Now students, let us talk about Types and classification of plant fibers. Plant fibers, composed of single cells, are hollow and cylindrical and relatively short, that is, up to 65 millimeters, with tapering ends. These single cells are termed ultimate fibers. Example in cotton, kapok fiber, and all seed fibers. The majority of plant fibers are multicellular, containing close packed arrays of ultimate fibers, and these plant fibers could be termed as fiber bundles. Mechanical fiber bundles or bast fiber bundles up to 300 millimeter in length are extracted from either plant stems, for example in hemp, jute, flax, kenaf, rami, or from leaves, for example in sisal, henequen, pineapple, or fruiting bodies, for example from coir and palm, empty fruit bunch. Once extracted from the plant and processed, fiber bundles are usually irregular in cross section, with considerable variations in the number of ultimate cells, often depending on the severity of the extraction process. Plant fibers are classified in terms of their fiber type, botanical name, family, origin, and approximate level of production. There are many different types of plant fibers, each with its own unique characteristics that can be used for various purposes. But basically, plant fibers can be classified in 5 categories. They are bast fibers, leaf fibers, seed fibers, wood fibers, and fruit fibers. Dear students, first let's explain them one by one. Number 1, bast fibers. Bast fibers, that is flax, jute, hemp, rami, kenaf, and abaca, are soft woody fibers which are obtained from stems or stalks of dicotyledonous plants. Bast fibers are long fibers that are obtained from the phloem or the outer layer of the stem of certain plants. The fibers occur in bundles or aggregates. The bundles consist of 10 to 25 elementary fibers with the length of 2 to 5 millimeter and a diameter of 10 to 50 micrometers. Flax fibers are obtained from the stems. Fibers are running at the surface of the plant stem, which is about 1 meter height and 2 to 3 millimeter thick in the diameter. Flax fiber is a cellulose fiber, and a more crystalline structure makes it stronger and stiffer to handle and more easily wrinkled. The process of retting tends to separate the bundles of flax fibers into individual fibers, although many fibers remain together in bundles. Flax fibers contain 60 to 70% of cellulose, hemicellulose 17%, lignin 2 to 3%, waxes 2%, pectins 10%, and natural coloring matter. Flax fibers have a soft handle and have fairly lustrous appearance. The length of fibers varies between 6 to 65 millimeter, but on average they are about 20 millimeters long and the diameter is about 20 micrometers. Flax fibers have a lumen in the center and the shape of fibers varies from polygonal to oval and irregular. Fibers cross section form depends on variety, plant growth conditions, and maturity. Flax fibers are amongst the strongest in the group of naturally occurring fibers, that is, 55 cn per tex, and about 20% stronger in wet state. But they do not stretch much. Flax fibers elongation at break is only 1.8% and their moisture regain is 12%. Now let us talk about jute. Jute is a natural fiber obtained as an extract from the bark of the white jute plant and to a lesser extent from Tosa jute. Jute is a long, soft and shiny fiber that can be spun into coarse, strong threads and is one of the cheapest natural fibers. It is also the most versatile, eco-friendly, natural, durable and anti-static fiber available. The plants are retted by the same method used for flax. The resulted jute strands, which are up to 3 meter long, are composed of many very short fibers, elementary fibers, of length between 0.5 to 6 millimeter and diameter 26 to 30 micrometers, held together by lignocelluloses. The fibers contain between 61 to 71% cellulose, hemicelluloses 14 to 20%, lignin 12 to 13%, and pectin 0.2%. The cross sections of bundles of jute fibers show a range in the size and number of fibers per bundle, in the thickness of the wall, and in the shape and diameter of lumens. The fiber is generally smooth with some dislocations. The individual fibers are mainly polygonal with rounded corners and oval to round lumens. Jute has a moderate strength, that is 30 to 45 cn per tex. However, it is not as strong as flax or hemp. For fibers, elongation at break is 1 to 2%. Moisture regain of jute fibers is 12.6%, but it can absorb up to 23% of water under conditions of high humidity. Jute has high insulating and anti-static properties and low thermal conductivity. Now let us talk about hemp. Hemp is the best fiber obtained from stems. It grows easily to a height of 4 meters without agrochemicals and captures large quantities of carbon. The most important component of fibers are cellulose, that is 77%, pectin 1.4%, and waxes 1.4%. Pectin is found in the middle lamellae and glues the elementary fibers to form bundles. The lignin, that is 1.7%, is an encrusting component of the fiber. Lignin encrusts the cellulose and contributes to the hardness and strength of fibers. It is located in the middle lamellae and fiber's primary cell wall. The diameter of the cell varies considerably from 16 to 15 micrometers with broad flat lumen. The length of the individual or elementary fibers ranging from 2 to 90 millimeters with an average of 15 millimeters. Elementary fibers are thick-walled and the cross-section of fibers is polygonal with rounded edges. In longitudinal view, the fiber is roughly cylindrical with surface irregularities and lengthwise deformations caused by dislocations. The ends of fibers are slightly tapered and blunt. Hemp fibers are coarser when compared to flax and rather difficult to bleach. The fibers have an excellent moisture resistance and rot very slowly in water. Hemp fibers have high tenacity, that is 53 to 62 cn per tex, about 20% higher than flax, but low elongation at break of 1.5%. Now let us talk about rami fibers. Rami fibers are extracted from the stem, and the individual fiber cells in stems are bound together in fiber bundles by waxes, hemicelluloses, lignin and pectins that are difficult to remove. Therefore, the efficiency of the retting process usually used for hemp fibers extraction is not sufficient to extract rami fibers from stems. But a combined microbial and chemical treatment is very effective and economical. The composition of rami fibers is cellulose 91 to 93%, hemicelluloses 2.5%, pectin 0.63%, and lignin 0.65%. Rami fibers exhibit excellent mechanical properties, that is 45 to 88 cn per tex, and as most of the natural cellulose fibers, the strength increases by 25% when fibers are wet. The ultimate fiber length is between 120 to 150 millimeter and fiber diameter is 40 to 60 micrometers. Fibers are durable and they have good resistance to bacteria, mildew and insect attack. The main disadvantage of rami is its low elasticity. That is, elongation at break is only 3 to 7%, which means that it is stiff and brittle. Fibers are oval to cylindrical in shape and their color is white and high lustrous. Fibers surface is rough and characterized by small ridges, striations and deep fissures. Rami fiber can be easily identified by its coarse, thick cell wall, lack of twist and surface characteristics. Now let us talk about another fiber known as kinaf. Kinaf fibers are of two types: long fiber bundles situated in the cortical layer and short fibers located in the ligneous zone. Elementary fibers are short. Their fiber length ranges from 3 to 7 millimeters with average diameter of 21 micrometers. The cross sections are polygonal with rounded edges and the lumens are predominantly large and oval to round in shape. The lumen varies greatly in thickness along the cell length and it is several times interrupted. Kinaf fibers contain about 45 to 57% of cellulose, 21.5% hemicelluloses, 8 to 13% lignin and 3 to 5% pectin. Kinaf fibers are coarse, brittle and difficult to process. Their breaking strength is similar to that of low-grade jute and is weakened only slightly when wet. There are many potential specific utilization possibilities for kinaf, whole stalk and outer bast fibers, including paper products, textiles, composites, building materials and absorbents. Now let us talk about another class, that is leaf fibers. Leaf fibers are often referred to as hard fibers and have limited commercial value, mainly because they are generally stiffer and coarser texture than the bast fibers. The fibers are usually obtained from the leaves by mechanically scraping away the non-fibrous material. Above all, the leaf fibers are used for production of cordage and ropes. The most important fibers of this group are sisal, henequen, and abaca. The sisal fiber is a hard fiber extracted from fresh leaves. It is usually obtained by a decortication process in which the leaf is crushed between rollers and then mechanically scraped. The length of the sisal fiber varies between 0.6 and 1.5 meters, and its diameters range from 100 to 300 micrometers. And the cellulose content in sisal fibers is about 70%. The fiber is composed of numerous elongated fiber cells that are narrowed towards both ends. Fiber cells are linked together by middle lamellae, which consists of hemicelluloses, lignin, and pectin. A sisal fiber in cross section is built up of about 100 fiber cells. The cross section of sisal fibers is neither circular nor fairly uniform in dimension. The lumen varies in size but is usually well defined. The longitudinal shape is approximately cylindrical. Longitudinal view and cross section of sisal fibers is demonstrated. Physically, each fiber cell is made up of four main parts, namely the primary wall, the thick secondary wall, the tertiary wall, and the lumen. The fibrils are built up of microfibrils with a thickness of about 20 micrometers. The microfibrils are composed of cellulose molecular chains with a thickness of 0.7 micrometers and a length of a few micrometers. Sisal fiber is fairly coarse and inflexible, and the tensile properties of sisal fibers are not uniform along its length. The lower grade fiber is processed by the paper industry because of its high content of cellulose and hemicelluloses. The medium grade fiber is used in the cordage industry for making ropes, baler, and binders twine. The higher grade fiber after treatment is converted into yarns and used by the carpet industry. Abaca or Manila hemp is extracted from the leaf sheath around the trunk. The commercial fibers are utilized in the form of strands, and the strands in turn are composed of bundles of individual fibers. Individual fibers, when removed from the strands by boiling in an alkali solution, are smooth and fairly uniform in diameter. The lumens are large in relation to wall thickness. Cross marking is rare, and the fiber tips are pointed and often flat and ribbon-like. The technical fibers are 2 to 4 meter long. The single fibers are relatively smooth and straight and have narrow pointed ends. Individual fiber diameters ranges from 14 to 50 micrometers and the lengths from 2.5 to 13 millimeters. Chemically, abaca comprises 76.6% cellulose, 14.6% hemicelluloses, 8.4% lignin, 0.3% pectin, and 0.1% wax and fat. Abaca is considered as one of the strongest of all natural fibers, being 3 times stronger than cotton and twice that of sisal and is far more resistant to salt water decomposition than most of the vegetable fibers. Abaca is a lustrous fiber and yellowish white in color. Abaca fibers are used mainly to manufacture ropes and handicraft goods. Dear students, let's now talk about seed fibers. Cotton fibers consists of unicellular seed hairs of the balls of the cotton plant. Cotton fruit bursts when mature, revealing a tuft of fibers with the length from 25 to 60 millimeters and diameter varying between 12 and 45 micrometers. Cotton fibers have a pronounced three-wall structure. The cuticle layer consists of wax and pectin materials. The outer wax layer protects the primary wall, which is composed of cellulose crystalline fibrils. The secondary wall of the fibers consists of three distinct layers, which include closely packed parallel fibrils with spiral winding of 25 to 30 degrees and represent the majority of cellulose within the fibers. Lumen is surrounded by the tertiary wall. Cotton fibers consist of 80 to 90% cellulose, 6 to 8% water, 0.5 to 1% waxes and fats, 0 to 1.5% proteins, 4 to 6% hemicelluloses and pectins, and 1 to 1.8% ash. Cotton is hydrophilic and the fibers swell considerably in water. Fibers are stable in water and its wet tenacity is up to 20% higher than its dry tenacity, that is 25 to 40 cn per tex. The fibers are resistant to alkali but degraded by acids. The microbial resistance of cotton is low. It burns readily and quickly, can be boiled and sterilized, and does not cause skin irritation or other allergies. Kapok is a highly lignified organic seed fiber containing 35 to 50% of cellulose, 22 to 45% of hemicelluloses, 15 to 22% of lignin, and 2 to 3% of waxes. Kapok contains smaller quantities of starch, about 2.1% of proteins, and inorganic substances, notably iron. Kapok contains 70 to 80% of air and provides excellent thermal and acoustic insulation. The absolute density of a kapok cell wall is 1.474 grams per centimeter cube, while the density of fibers is only 0.384 gram per centimeter cube. Kapok is a smooth, unicellular, cylindrically shaped, twistless fiber. Its cell wall is thin and covered with a thick layer of wax. A wide lumen is filled with air and does not collapse like cotton. By the microscopic observation, kapok fibers are transparent with characteristic air bubbles in the lumen. The cross-section of fibers is oval to round. The kapok cell wall structure differs from other natural cellulosic fibers. A primary cell wall, which is directly related to the superficial properties of fibers, consists of short microfibrils which are oriented rectangular to the surface of fibers. In the secondary cell wall, microfibrils run almost parallel to the fiber axis. Considering the content of alpha cellulose, kapok is more like wood than flax and other plant fibers. The average degree of polymerization is 6600. Kapok fibers are 10 to 35 millimeters long with a diameter of 20 to 43 micrometers, and the cell wall thickness is about 13 micrometers. The tensile strength is 0.84 cn per dtax, 93.3 megapascals. Young's module is 4 GPa and breaking at elongation is 1.2%. Due to its wide lumen, kapok has an exceptional capability of liquids retention. Its excellent thermal and acoustic insulating properties, high buoyancy, and good oil and other non-polar liquids absorbency distinguish kapok from other cellulosic fibers. Kapok is mainly used in the form of stuffing and non-wovens. It is rarely used in yarns, mostly due to low cohesivity of its fibers and their resilience, brittleness, and low strength. New potentials of kapok are in the field of technical textiles, yachts, and boats furnishing, insulating materials in refrigeration systems, acoustic insulation, industrial wastewaters, filtration, removal of spilled oil from water surfaces, and reinforcement components in polymer composites. Dear students, let's now talk about wood fibers. Wood fibers are obtained from the wood of certain trees, such as bamboo and some species of conifers. These fibers are often used in the production of paper, flooring, and furniture. Now, let us talk about fruit fibers. Fruit fibers are obtained from the husks of certain fruits, such as coconut fiber. Coir, for example, is obtained from the husks of coconuts and is often used in the production of mats, brushes, and rope. Dear students, while concluding this lecture, we can say that plant fibers are an important resource with a wide range of uses across different industries. They are known for their sustainability, versatility, and biodegradability. So, dear students, thank you all for joining today's lecture. I hope you found it informative and engaging. Thank you very much.